Well, hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Joanne and I am the Lunar Lawyer. I'm really sorry, my computer's a little bit slow. I thought I would just jump up and say hello today and see how you're all going. Give you a little bit of an update on myself and everything. I'm just here, just doing whatever. Just doing whatever, just hanging out. We can talk about whatever you like. I said, let's talk about nothing. Hello, Tracy. But we can talk about whatever subject, whatever topic you want. I mean, obviously we'll go. We might do a catch up. We might look in Michelle MGL. There's been some interesting stuff on there. I mean, the world's sort of shut down, but things still keep ticking on. There's lots of YouTube drama at the moment. It's just really interesting and as to what's going on at the moment. So as I said, we just happy to talk about anything and anything. I don't really have any set topic. I don't have anything. If you want to jump up, you're more than welcome. I know that I've updated my store with some cool new products. I'm adding some more. I thought I might do some stickers of all the sayings that KJ's said over the years, and we might talk about our favourite KJ quotes at some point in time, because we've got Russia isn't China, we've got you're worth more than your uterus, or something, those types of stuff. We know that I like to talk about everything and anything, so we can do all of that. That is not a problem. So how is everybody and how are you all going? Here is the link. The other thing is if you do come up. Oh no, you can't do it on this one. Okay, I was going to say there is if I upgrade my account, you could restream this onto your channel, but that's okay. So I'm just trying to stay out of lots of trouble at the moment, but it seems to find me all the time. With the Boxing Day Test match happening at the moment as well in Australia cricket, it's legendary, and all of that sort of stuff. So I'm just waffling here at the moment, which is what I do. But look, that's the link. I'm just going to have to go into my studio here and pin it. So just did you have a good Christmas, Tracy? Hope you all had a good and safe Christmas. There were some interesting things I wanted to talk about as well. I've got to talk about that. So tell me, for those of you that are overseas, does the country shut down over Christmas and New Year, or is it pretty much business as usual? So a lot of places here will actually close. We'll take a break, and a lot of Merry Christmas, nice Christmas, Tracy. So a lot of places here will close about the 23rd or the last working day or before Christmas or Christmas Eve. Most places, shut up shop before Christmas Eve, and they don't open again until the second week of the new year. So they have a big break. A lot of people wouldn't be at work today unless they have to be at work today. A lot of people will take their leave. So there are a lot of businesses that are closed down at the moment. So so we've had some very hot, we've had some very warm weather in Australia, very warm weather. And I noticed that part of closed for Christmas, open for New Year's. Right. Okay. I know that the parts of the US are having the worst storms, and there's which is really, when you think about the fact that here we're sweltering and we're having really hot weather, and then you're looking at, articles like this where they're talking about, Buffalo, for example, a blizzard. It just blows your mind because, as I said, I'm sitting here, as you can see, I've got short sleeves on and I've had the aircon on. Cold here, 12 degrees. And, when you see pictures like that, it's really hard to comprehend that that's one side of the world, and then we get to the other side, and we've had, we're in summer at the moment, where you've got where are we? Cyclones. Where was it? Down here a little bit more. I saw it here before. Where it's going to be record heat. Heat. We've got bushfires. We've got bushfires here. Go high temperatures. So on one part you've got in one part you've got snow and you've got blizzards, and then in the other part, extreme heat. It's we Adelaide was set to hit the 40 degrees Celsius, which is well over 98 point something's 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and I know that we hit 102 yesterday Fahrenheit, so we were pretty warm. So it's looking warm on New Year's Day. So there is a change. So we've got a cool change coming through now. But so you've got your heat article, and then you've got your blizzard article. So it's really bizarre how different parts of the world, have those extreme conditions. And as I said, we've got fire. We're in our fire season now as well. So, and in fact, it was so hot yesterday. I think three elite sports people yesterday went off due to heat exhaustion. That was interesting. I think we don't normally see that happen. They usually are very much going to very much. This is the first Christmas with snow. Wow. I lived here for 25 years. So first Christmas with snow. That's interesting. I couldn't imagine because of the fact that, it's just not something that happens here. 21st, wow, snow. I mean, we find the stuff like songs like Frosty the Snowman and anything to do with snow quite ironic because we don't have it. I couldn't imagine what it was like. I don't know. So Katie Joy hit 100,000 followers on Twitter. I mean on Instagram. She's got a tick now. 100K. Now it's interesting here. So she's got 100,000 followers. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how you get that. But look, it's all about Josiah and Lauren named their daughter Daisy. This isn't a troll. she's flexing her car. I thought she didn't believe in Santa. Santa's been. I thought Santa wasn't part of I thought Santa wasn't part of well, Tracy, that is still the that's people still think that, don't they? They think she might buy them. But I don't know. I really don't know. They say that if you want to be successful, you've got to create drama. I mean, she's very, she comes across as being very divisive and very controversial. And I still can't help but wonder whether that's what she wants because of that she gets people to watch. I mean, look at Michelle Sabaté. Hello, Grant. Look at Michelle Sabaté, your MGL. How on she's got 5,000 subs or something like that. All she does is spout off about everything in it and starts drama with people. Very controversial. So I just find the whole thing bizarre. So it seems the more polarizing and controversial you are, the better you do. And I'm more happy. I'm more than happy to have a tiny channel and and stay away from all the drama and just keep in my lane than have all that controversy. I just couldn't be bothered with it. My life is stressful enough now. I couldn't imagine having YouTube drama because at the end of the day, it's just YouTube, right? It's just YouTube. So, yeah. So, this is the Without a Crystal Ball Reddit, and I want to thank the people from Reddit for this. So this is her, and I find it to be this. And this is what I mean about controversial, and I mean I find this distasteful myself. In the midst of Josh Duggar's arrest, conviction, and sentencing, Josiah and Lauren Duggar quietly welcomed a baby girl they named Daisy. The name Daisy is a very interesting and disturbing choice, given that Josh Duggar's crimes included downloading the most horrific CSAM out there, Daisy's Destruction. I mean, why would you link those two things together? Of all the names they could have been chosen, the couple picked Daisy for their baby girl. Of all the names, this is similar to Josh Duggar naming his 7th daughter Madison, not far from Ashley Madison website, where he was like, why? The baby was born in the last year, meaning Josiah and Lauren knew the controversy surrounding the name and went with this. Last spring, I got a message from a local that told me Josiah and Lauren welcomed a girl named Daisy. I did not believe it because it seemed way too much like a trolling. Well, it turns out they are trolling fans with the name. Makes you wonder if they are thumbing their noses at people who believe in Josh's skill. Why? Why would you link those two things? So does that mean that everybody that names their child Jack is affiliated with Jack the Ripper? I mean, hello. Or Marilyn, what? I'm a bit speechless. I mean, that one was just bizarre. I just find that to be absolutely bizarre because I thought, oh, Daisy's a nice name. I would not have put the two. I would not put 2 and 2 together if it wasn't pointed out to me, and I really don't care. To be honest with you, I really don't care. Yeah. So, oops. the the other thing is, and I think this will be a next ploy for her. She is strange, Tracy. Yeah. So this is a company based in China. TikTok admitted to spying on journalists and collecting data, locations, contact information, and private information. The journalists works for BuzzFeed and Forbes, covering issues at TikTok. TikTok admitted that employees with the company also obtained unsolicited access to users' information. The federal government is in the process of banning all employees from using the app due to security risks. TikTok is owned by a Chinese, can't spell Chinese, company who under the law can be forced to hand over user data, contact information, and locations to the communist regime. Is this going to be her next thing? Is that she's got China spying on her? Is that, yeah? I'm wondering if that's going to be her next ploy. I mean, for someone that's a journalist, you know, she's yeah, you can buy that. Can you? Yeah. Yeah, as I said, I don't know. Oh, here's the other. This is what I want to talk about too. Sometimes I have all these tabs open and I don't even connect. I'm going to talk about this. So, did you have a good Christmas, Grant? Cops use it? Okay. Look, I'm not surprised. I mean, look, it doesn't surprise me that law enforcement and stuff use it as well. I mean, we've got tracking program. Thing is, everybody, most people don't realise it, but most people are tracked and traced. They can find you. Mobile phones, towers. If they wanted to find you, they can. If they want to follow you, they can. They don't need to. Yeah. It's we're tracked and traced with everything now. You look at all the surveillance cameras that are put up in the streets, and now they could just about follow you. You can really be followed from your front door to wherever you go. It's just a part of life. Um, and I think don't need to ask. Yeah. And people put stuff that you can put apps on phones. Well, I mean, Apple's the great one. The Find My iPhone or Find Friends. You put that on and you can track your friends. And as long as they forget to, as long as they forget to activate it, you know where people are the whole time. I mean, my nephew Harrison will sometimes say, "Where are you?" And I'll send him my location, and he'll follow my location for the hour if I'm out and about. You can get you, you are tracked and traced all the time, all the time. So yeah, it's only time for the cricket to start. Day 3 of the. At least it's a 3-day test match. Yeah. So look, as far as the 7M lawsuit is concerned, an update. But as I said, if they're closed for Christmas, I don't suppose we'll get anything till probably the new year. But considering that there's supposed to be pre-trial conference in February, those dates have to move. I don't care what her lawyers, what Katie's lawyers say. If they think they're going to get depositions done and all their arguments done by February, to quote the Kerrigans, tell them they're dreaming. um, So I want to just briefly talk about David McBride. So we've got a few little interesting little things here at the moment. So David McBride is actually being represented by the lawyer who represents Friendly Geordies, Jordan Shanks, and he's still on his sabbatical after his firebombed house. So shout out to Friendly Geordies, Shanks. But this is written by Lisa Vissenton, and I apologise for messing up her name. But it says former defence lawyer David McBride is ready to go to jail with his head held high for exposing alleged war crimes in Afghanistan, but has called for the establishment of an independent federal authority to help avoid the same fate. So he's essentially a whistleblower that has reported that there were war crimes that occurred in Afghanistan. He was a defence lawyer. He was a lawyer in the Defence Forces. We have a free hospital service, but the information belongs to the hospital. It's their property to use as they will, so you're doing it. Well, that's interesting, Grant, too, because even when you go to, or you want to change this, you actually have to write to the doctor. You actually have to ask for your medical information to be released to your new doctor, which is, I always found to be really, really bizarre because, it's technically it should be my information, but it's not. You're right. It belongs to the hospital, belongs to the doctor. So the creation of a centralised agency to oversee and enforce Australia's whistleblower protections is the key demand of human rights and integrity advocates such as Attorney General Mark Dreyfus prepares to overhaul the country's protection framework. Whether or not it comes in to save McBride at the moment, I don't know. Hopefully it does. McBride, who is facing a jury trial next year over leaking of a cache of documents to the ABC that formed the basis of its Afghan files investigation, said the reform was absolutely needed to support what others wanting to lawfully report wrongdoing within their organisation. So this comes down to, if you know that there's something not right in your organisation, should you be able to report it and should you be protected for it? The problem with complaining to your organisation, whether it's defence or not, is you can't have your own organisation deciding whether your complaint is valid or not. You need some third party to look at it, and they can then go to the police or they can advocate on your behalf for some sort of action. If there had been a third party that I could have seen, it could have easily stopped me having to go to the media. Now, a lot of whistleblowers go to the media. Why? Because they're not being listened to. Federal police raided the ABC Sydney headquarters on the 5th of June 2019 over the leaked documents which revealed incidents of Australian troops killing unarmed men and children, which were being investigated as potentially unlawful killings. Now, it's interesting because if you remember, there was the whole defamation trial going on with, what's his name? And all these a whole pile of war crimes have come out of there. And he's got a Victoria Cross, he's a highly decorated soldier. And he sued the media for reporting that he was involved in war crimes. And it would seem that he was. And that decision is still before the judge at the moment. There's been no decision on that, whether the media is going to be accountable or not. The subsequent Pearson report found credible evidence of war crimes by Australian Special Forces while serving in Afghanistan, including 39 murders, executions, and allegations of torture. I am very possibly facing the rest of my life in prison, McBride said. If I have to go to jail, I'll go to jail with my head held high. This is the thing. The report proved what he was saying was true. He's facing 5 charges relating to the unauthorised disclosure of information, theft of Commonwealth property, and breaching the Defence Act. So that's what he's been charged with. Dreyfus last month committed to consulting widely on the need for a whistleblower commission as he introduced the first tranche of reforms to the Public Interest Disclosure Act, the key framework aimed at protecting Commonwealth public servants turned whistleblowers from reprisal. The changes are designed to complement the new Anti-Corruption Commission. The creation of an independent statutory authority has strong support from the crossbench, including the Greens, ACT Senator David Pocock and Independent Helen Haines, whose widely respected Integrity Commission bill in the last Parliament included the creation of a Whistleblower Protection Commission. Kieran Pender, a senior lawyer at the Human Rights Law Centre, said a Whistleblower Protection Authority was emerging as international best practice. Similar institutions are operating in the United States and the Netherlands. It would provide practical support and guidance to whistleblowers, assist agencies, regulators, and companies in managing whistleblowers' disclosures, investigate alleged retaliation against whistleblowers, and take enforcement action and strategic litigation as appropriate. He said the ongoing prosecution of McBride and tax office whistleblower Richard Boy underscored the failings of the current system. Yes, there's people that are talking about things that are going on within organisations, and they're now, facing jail for coming out and talking about things that have occurred that aren't right. Both men tried to do the right thing. They spoke up internally. They spoke up to an oversight body and went public as a last resort. If there had been a body to provide them with support and help them speak up safely and lawfully, they might not be on trial for telling the truth. Victorian barrister James Catlin, who specialises in whistleblower cases, said whistleblowers was forced to navigate Byzantine laws on their own, by which the process extracting an enormous psychological and financial cost unless they had a sympathetic lawyer to help them. If you're a whistleblower, you want someone independent and sympathetic and knowledgeable about the unique situations you've been placed in, and especially the convoluted, untried laws that are meant to be there to protect you. If we have a central agency, it's going to be a repository of such knowledge and experience. So, yes, we're behind in a lot of ways, but for them to be able to, before they can, even with because now for being a lot of work practices, they actually have procedures in place. They've got the Fair Work Commission on safe work, where you can go and put complaints to them, and they can investigate and decide whether there's a case there. It's then that department that goes up against the organisation, not just the person, which is a lot better. So, yeah. Buffalo apparently this has just been updated. So let's have a look at this. So there's still a driving ban in parts of New York. So there'll be more state of Buffalo, where 2 storms have dumped almost a year's worth of snow. With a bad driving ban still in place, warming temperatures in western New York are expected to reveal more bodies in snowbanks in coming days. They also are investigating the unacceptable number of flights cancelled by Southwest Airline, which accounted for the bulk of cancellations in the region. It stranded people in their cars for days, shuttered city airports, and left residents shivering without heat. Wow. So Western New York was the hardest hit. It extended over most of the United States for days, as far south as the Mexican border. Wow. Predicting a further 2 inches or 5 centimetres of snow. Wow. We'll be warming up by Thursday. The high will be 46 degrees or 8 degrees Celsius. By Saturday, it will be 54. Oh, see, as I said, for me, for us in the Southern Hemisphere that are going through heat. This is, well, for me at the moment, yesterday, I would have liked to have sat in some snow. It was so hot. Unfortunately, 60 lives have been lost in weather-related incidences in the US. County officials reported 28 deaths in Air County, including 20 in Buffalo. Wow. The dead were found in cars, homes, and snowbanks. Some died while shoveling, others when emergency responded in time to medical crises. They're expected to find more. This is horrifying, isn't it? Oh, look at that. There are rumours of cyber on energy grids, but also rumours that just... That's interesting. Yes, there are. There's been cyber attacks, a whole heap of cyber attacks that occurred in Australia as well, just recently. Flights cancelled. Look at that. Wow. 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 Hello, Bo. How are you? Um, yeah, it's pretty wild. As I said, we've got heat. We're cooler today. Um, it's a bit cooler today. It's a bit humid, but it's not as hot as yesterday. Yesterday crippled me and a lot of people. Uh, the other day we had a power blackout due to the storms as well. So, um, hello, Ma. Thank you, me more. I actually just pulled it out of my wardrobe. Now that I've had, because for those of you that don't know, 2 weeks ago I had hysterectomy. Yes, I've said the word, and it was done left laparoscopic. I can't say it. Laparoscopic, where they just put little. I had 5 little incisions across my belly. They went through my belly button as well. My belly button is still very sore. I'm very still sore around there. The scars are healing, but as I am reminded, it's the inside that needs healing and needs time. So I'm starting to feel good. Hey, Laura. Every time I feel good, I do stuff and then I pay for it the next day. So I'm just trying to find that balance of what I can do and what I can't do at the moment. It was helpful once I had the stitches out. So it was decided, well, there were 2 reasons why I did it when I did it. So I have private health insurance, and because I'd had surgery early in the year, I'd paid the excess, and you only have to pay it once a year, the hospital excess. So I knew that the hospital wasn't going to. I knew that the hospital wasn't going to cover me for anything. And the second thing is that my work load, as far as work and income, is lower as well. So if I was going to have to miss or take time off, this period was the time to do it. So it's done now. So on the 25th of January, I've got to go back for another checkup. I also had an iron infusion, and so I have to also have a blood test, and that'll be 6 weeks, and that will tell us whether or not the iron is building, and then I'll have to have another one 6 weeks after that to make sure that it's staying high, and hopefully that's all of that. So yes, that's where we are at the moment. But as I said, I'm feeling quite good at the moment. I'm feeling, other than the fact it's hot and humid. So the weather in Southern has been very nice. Sorry to hear those suffering. Yeah, the polar vortex. It's been a while. For those of you that remember Harrison, he's doing well. He's 11 now, and he's going to go into his final year of primary school this year. He's actually gone to a school a specialist school for, and he's really thriving there now because it's essentially gets a one-on-one. It's nearly a one-on-one teaching, and they rather focus on all the academic side of life, rather than focusing on. They still do, all the stuff you need to do, math, science, and all of that, but they focus on, as they get older, they focus on lifestyle skills, so that he will be able to know how to navigate his way into the community. So they'll take them on the shopping. They'll teach them how to navigate shops and how to look after themselves as well. So they don't do what we call VCE or university entrance. They do the TAFE entrance, but they focus. So he has a physio countries class. He has speech pathology at his class. He does. So they have all that. He has a psychologist. So all the support that he needs is at the school and is part of the lessons. And some of them are class-based and some of them are one-on-one. They still do maths. They still do science. They still do English. But it's centered around the fact that his needs are different to those in a regular school. And he's been at a regular school for most of his life, and he was being left behind because of that fact. So yeah, he's thriving in that school at the moment. So goes into his final year of primary school. So I think it's a very good concept, and rather than being one child that stands out, he's actually in a community of children like him. So yeah, it's very good. Look, homelessness is going to it seems to be a problem that's going to occur worldwide. I think. I mean, my rent just went up a ridiculous amount, and and the other problem is because people can't afford to buy their own houses, the demand on rentals, and then the so it's really sad. He's named Harrison James. Oh wow, is he? My new great grandchild is named Harrison James. Well, he's Harrison John. Me more. Harrison James. Cool. Nice. Yeah, I'll have to see if I can get him on because he's on his summer break at the moment. So I'll have to see if I can get him on during his summer break, and he can tell you he's got great jokes. So yeah, he sometimes asks after everybody and asks how everybody is. So as I said earlier, this is just a general chat stream. I selfishly do not want my friends to become human popsicles. I could have done with a few popsicles yesterday. Yeah, so I don't really have a topic. We just look at different things, and my baby 15 months ago. Wow, months. Wow, he's got me. Hello, Laura's baby. Oh, I mean, we can talk about anything. There's lots of fallbacks still from Harry and Meghan's docu-series. The latest one to come out is that some of the filming was done in the Queen's private, in her private residences, and she would never have allowed that. But they've actually breached that. um, sorry, it's a mortgage point. And yeah, so that one of the places, and it's owned. Beatrice apparently has oversees it, and so they're wondering why Beatrice allowed them to film when the Queen specifically has rules against filming, and whether Beatrice was actually tricked. And of course, there's the Suits footage where Meghan curtsied. I've been watching the Prince Harry debacle. Meghan is like, yeah. And curtsied on the in her suits in the show Suits, so she did know how to curtsy. Well, there's a few different things about there's been a few theories written about Meghan and that docuseries. One says that it was actually probably designed for the American audience, and simply because of the sensationalism of it, where the Commonwealth countries or the those of us that know the history and the background, and we're really attuned to the royal family, it's a lot harder for us to swallow. Simply because of the fact that we know how things work. You know, there's been a few outrageous things. I find it very interesting. You know, he's talked about the fact that his brother was yelling at him, and it's like, well, yeah, brothers yell at other brothers, right? And a lot of things also to do. Look, I'm not saying that they're perfect. I'm really not saying that they're perfect. But at the end of the day, you've got to remember that the royal family of our head of is our head of state, and so you know, I'm going to protect. Charles isn't. Charles, I've been very impressed by King Charles. Actually, I thought his speech was excellent. His Christmas message, I thought that was absolutely. I was really surprised. He's actually surprised me, and it's been good to see Will and Kate step up the Waleses. So I'm somewhat, and they've not. The royal family hasn't. Um, The bow was just plain me. Even I know how to curtsy. Just saying, I can't stand the lies. She never calls people by the whole name H. H's grandma. She was the Queen's with the sake. Yes, I know. H's grandma. Yeah. You know, and even when they were talking about in the Oprah interview how, you know, the whole title thing, you know, that got exposed as a lie straight away. But there's no way that yeah. The coronation. Here's the thing. It'll be very interesting to see. Do you think? Here's a question for you. Trying to make money on people who have passed. Exactly. And you know what was really sad, Tracy, was that was all filmed between the death of his grandfather and the death of his grandmother. You can't tell me a 70-year-old house full of lead paint, faulty wiring, faulty appliances is worth $1 million without zero. I know. Yeah, I would somewhat agree with that. So, it was done between the death of his grandmother and the death of his grandfather and the death of his grandmother. So the poor, you know, and so I just find that to be really disrespectful. And the other thing that I watched it with the idea that Her Majesty is still, yes, she was alive at that time. Yes, yeah, she was alive during that time. Is my understanding. But you imagine the grief and everything that she would have been going through. But when they wanted to introduce the Queen to Elizabeth, and they wanted the Netflix camera crew in, and the Queen said no, and they allegedly cracked over the fact the Queen didn't want cameras in. She's a very private person. She was always a very private person. It sounded like their Christmases were wild, though. So apparently, let's have a look. I was reading it because I thought initially, gee, this is really rude. Well, yes, they were both okay with it, but then she book was interesting. This is what I found to be really interesting, and I first of all, I thought, gee, this is really, really bizarre. And then, sometimes you have to go past the headlines, and because we know how media likes to sensationalize things. And then I thought, oh, this is interesting, and I thought, oh, I can see why they did this. So let's have a look at this. Oh, Djokovic has landed in Australia. Oh, really? I'm not very happy with unvaccinated people. How many times have access to children? So this is what I found. This was the headline. It says Prince William and Princess Kate weighed after Christmas lunch in a bizarre tradition. And I thought, why are they weighing them? Thought that's a bit rude. But apparently it's a tradition then it says they may have been weighed by the king after their Christmas lunch. It was part of a bizarre tradition once carried out by the Queen. The new monarch had reportedly planned to ask the Prince and Princess of Wales to weigh themselves. In 2018, a royal expert told Grazier that the Queen would ask each of her guests to step on the scale. But it was merely done to ensure the guests were having fun and being well fed. Could you imagine the headlines? Could you imagine the headlines if they'd asked Meghan to weigh? So apparently it goes back to the tradition of King Edward VII's reign in the early 1900s and was reportedly going to be continued by Charles. So as the royal family Christmas Day revolve around eating with a turkey dinner and all the trimmings being served, all members of the family take part in the odd but fun tradition. So, and she used to give her dogs a special treatment too. And then, as well as they enjoy afternoon tea and evening buffet after a long walk around Sandringham. Before the Queen passed, she always made sure her corgis received special treatment as well. Even the corgis, there were 12 of them when I was chef, had individual menus, usually involving a rotation of fresh rabbit, beef, or chicken with rice and cabbage. We jokingly refer to the footman responsible for the dogs, both named Paul, as Doggy 1 and Doggy 2. Princess Kate looks beautiful, I have to say. But yeah. So anyway, that is the tradition. But could you imagine the outroar if it was the others? It's a wonder that didn't come up in the video that the Queen wanted them weighed after the meal. Could you imagine that? Hey, Andrew. No clue how that could be fun. Laughing at how much. Well, yeah, I don't know how much it would be fun either. But the only way that would work for me is if you weighed each guest. You have each guest. You weigh each guest as they arrive, and then you weigh them afterwards. Because assuming that you would eat more. But anyway, I. But so they do say that a lot of the people in the US do believe their story. I think one of the things, if you compare what they've said on the Oprah interview with what they've said in this docu-series, some of the stories have changed and are different. Even the way that they've met is different. So I'm not sure what the truth is, and that's where you start to become unreliable. But it is my opinion that she thought, being an American actress, that she was going to be top dog, and she realized that there was a pecking order, and she wasn't very. As William and Kate had children, the pecking order got lower and lower and lower and lower. So that's just my opinion. I don't believe their stories, other than the fact they're very tall tales, says Bo. Well, there's the truth in that. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the royal family or the Queen or there's, are perfect in all of this. No way. I'm not saying that. And I mean, when they talk about getting married, that they married for love, well, my issue is that yes, his father may not have married for love, but he eventually married for love. You know, rightly or wrongly, and there were expectations on him, but he eventually. And I believe Edward and Sophie married for love. I don't believe that they all married for duty. If he's implying that she doesn't have class like Catherine says with Andrew. Well, I don't think she was prepared to learn either. I thought that Fergie, I mean, there's the story that Fergie, the story that Fergie took her aside and taught her to curtsy and taught her, how to act and everything. So I don't know. I mean, Fergie's not necessarily, interesting one to get lessons to. And I believe that Sophie even reached out to her. So, well, this is what we're hearing. That Sophie reached out, and people reached out to her and said, "Hey, we want to help you here." Where was Fergie during the Christmas? Well, see, Fergie technically isn't part of the royal family because she's divorced. She's divorced from Andrew, so she's only there at select events. I believe in the same house still. They still share a house. They have different wings of a house, I believe, but technically she's not royal. She's not official royal family. She's just an outsider now. So yeah, I really like. I mean, Sophie, in my opinion, I've had my deliveries. Sophie, in my opinion, is elegant and graceful. I think to be treated like royalty, but didn't want to have to work like Well, she wanted her cake and eat it. She wanted her cake. She wanted to have the cake and eat it too, I guess. Because she wanted the treatment, but she wanted to be able to select what she did. She only wanted to do the good stuff, but not all the other stuff that goes with it. Because there is some stuff that they do that's very boring, and They are. Fergie was for the first time to Christmas. Yes, they share a house, but she didn't just buy one. Didn't she just buy one lately? I think so. I'm not sure. And the thing about Edward and Sophie is that they chose not to have their children have prince and princesses. They just wanted to settle down with life at the time because they've stepped up since Harry's left. Sophie and Edward have sort of stepped in and filled in a lot of those gaps, but they wanted to. They just lived quietly. They were royals, and they just lived their life, their children, just under the radar. So Sophie and Edward showed that you could live your life as a royal under the radar. But Harry says he didn't want history to repeat itself, but it did. Like Charles, he tried to ignore Diana's issues. If Meghan was really suffering, he continued to carry out duties. She definitely, yeah. Well, that's right. There were issues. That's right. There were issues. And the other thing was, if you but Diana also knew how to use the media to her own advantage as well. She used the media to her own advantage. Look, there's lots of people that reckon that it's not going to last. It's going to be very, very interesting. Definitely going to be interesting. And the thing is, I also don't know how much of with Meghan, how much is real, as Memo says, how much is real and how much is an act. So I was watching some snippets. I've been watching lots of YouTube stuff from the UK. Okay, see you, Grant. Where people were saying that people Netflix had said that that text or the Beyonce when they got the text from Beyonce that took 3 or 4 takes to get right. So a lot of it was actually acted. I never understood. They wanted out the limelight but continues. Well, now they're saying, Bo, that was never the case at all. They're saying that wasn't the case at all. That the media has put that false narrative out. I always thought it was funny that they were leaving a country, they were leaving the UK, which had a protection in place for the children of royal family members, as far as the media, and they were. That was always baffling for me because in the UK, and the UK people may correct me if I'm wrong, but there is what we call a gentleman's agreement from the media and the royal family that no unsolicited photos will be taken of the children. They can take their photos on the first day of school, and organised events that the royal family give approval to. So, like at Christmas time, so there's times where they can take the photos, but generally the kids are off limits. That is my understanding. understanding of the rules. Yeah, I heard, and I. Yes, Laura says there's an agreement. There is an agreement. And that's why I could never understand why going to the US, where there is no such agreement with the media. Why? So that always baffled me. Always baffled me. And that would be my very first, if I ever got to see, and if if I ever got to speak to Harry and Meghan, that would be my very first question to them. Because there is an agreement. And why would they? Catherine releases photos of Cambridge kids. I remember the French had photos of Catherine in a bikini and she was topless. Well, don't forget, Laura, do you remember when they were first dating, she was referred to as Waity Katie? There was the whole Waity Katie saga. That's right. And there was the topless bikini thing as well. And they still refuse. They still always call her Kate Middleton. She very rarely got referred to as the Duchess of Cambridge. They very rarely call her title. She's still Kate when she's actually princess. Kate was hounded just like Diana. She was. She wants. How do you reckon she'd go, Tracy, if she ran for president? Yes, the media is a bit harsh and intrusive. Yes. So when William and everyone was saying, and it had nothing to do. It had nothing to do with race. It was just, I've been watching a lot of UK presenters, particularly women of colour, really rip into Markle as well. It's been really interesting. Kate was photographed leaving for work, and it was front page news with a breakdown of where she bought her clothes. Yes, I remember that too, Laura. Yes. And in fact, didn't William and Kate break up for a while when they were, because he wasn't, because didn't they, wasn't the reason they initially broke up was because he was really concerned about the media and what they were doing to Kate and whether she deserved it or something, and then she's just embraced it. Yes, he soon realised he'd made a mistake. Yeah. So, and I mean, I know that agreement with the press, I think, all came out of after the death of Diana, if I remember rightly. That was one of the things that came out of that. So, um, so yes, there is an agreement. So they would have when they're talking about, photographers and all that, they weren't British press photographers, because the British press, there's an agreement that there would be set times when they could photograph, and I think you'll find that one of them is when the baby's, the newborn photo, and I don't know that I think that the thing is that they wanted to dictate what they did, and they really didn't like being told what to do, which is really funny considering that that's been Harry's life. Nice seeing you in summer clothes. A picture of Archie on the front. Well, that would have been the agreed photo, me more. or every royal baby had done it. It was just a standard royal photo, but they refused. And I guess if they weren't going to keep their end of the bargain, the media was probably going to say, well, we don't need to keep ours either. I thought she has to strip her title before. Well, I think she would have had to have given. I thought she had to give up her citizenship of the US to become a royal. Princess Mary. It's interesting. Princess Mary do that. She had to change religions as well. She had to change from Catholic to Lutheran, and she had to give up her citizenship, and she had to learn a new language. So, and I'm not saying press is innocent in all of this either, but what I'm saying is that I just find it very bizarre that children that are so down the line of the pecking order, that the media would be. We all like new babies. I mean, we all like new babies, don't we? We like a good royal wedding, and we like good good baby photos. Look at Beatrice and Eugenie. Beatrice has had a child, I think, hasn't she? And hers is left alone. She's a working royal, has her own career. So so anyway, I guess we just watch this space. Joined the Church of England, and she was studying for her citizenship. She just said it was so hard, and even Harry couldn't help her. Nobody cares about Beatrice. Well, that's right. And the thing is that no one probably would have cared about Meghan and Harry either. At the end of the day, it was too hard, was it? Well, Harry was this being a prince, or as the son of a royal heir. I guess gives you some privileges that nobody else would have. Kate is wondering. Oh, is she? Interesting. Haven't heard that. I mean, there are rumours that they were wanting to have another one. I don't know, Meemaw. I haven't heard that one. But you know what that means, Meemaw? He was popular, and he became this moron in London bars and clubs, getting drunk with his friends, chatting up us persons. Well, the thing was, Laura, we liked him because he was a larrigan, and he was the most. He was the rebel. He was he was he was like us, reminded us of ourselves. But yeah, it's yeah. I haven't heard if Kate's pregnant, but I tell you what, if she is, not from Prince William, it would mean that Harry and Archie and Lilibet would all move down the pecking order. Oh, yeah, and that they were able to get Queen's blessing before she passed. I thought I'd wait. Okay, interesting. I don't know. Kate was really ill, being pregnant with Lewis. So I don't know whether she'd want to put herself through that again. I think she spent a lot of time in the hospital. So, and the other thing I really admire about William and Kate is that they actually don't have any home help. They have no maids. They have no. Well, this was before. I don't think William's hairline can handle another kid. They do everything themselves. They don't have any cooks or anything, and they don't have any. Well, they don't have any household help, which I really admire. But that may change now that they're the Prince and Princess of Wales, or they're going to be a lot busier. They may now. I mean, sure, they probably got a nanny to if they've got to travel with them, but for the most part, Lewis is more than a laugh. I think he's going to be like his uncle, Laura. Bit of a larrikin. Charlotte's going to be the she's going to be the straight one, but that's not what I mean. She's going to keep her brothers in line with all her pregnancies, but each has been progressively worse. You love I know. Thank you, Miwa. Yeah. And feisty. Yeah, I know. I mean, remember there was all that criticism that time that Lewis played up at the Queen's Jubilee, and everyone's going, he's just a 4-year-old boy. He's got to sit through this concert. He's a 4-year-old boy. She's the Princess. Oh, of course she is the Princess Anne of the group. This, I mean, and again, Christmas. So the children are, they're allowed to talk about. The children are out and about. So if the children are out with their parents, they can take photos, but they're not allowed to go looking for photos of the kids. They can't take them to school. Let's have a look. It was just a really cool photo, really cool thing here of Lewis. Look at this. Isn't he gorgeous? He's gorgeous. In fact, some people have said, let's make him the king. Oh, look at this. Look at his face. Boss baby, Prince Louis heart-melting moment during the first Christmas walkabout. So, all right, let's have a look. I haven't seen this. So let's have a look. And it was his debut. So he's fourth in line to the throne. You going to play for me? You hear him say Charlotte? Oh. Charlotte! Oh. See, Prince William, and should be Princess Kate. There you go. Yeah, so he's in shorts. Yes, he's in shorts. Yes. Don't they wear shorts until they're a certain age? So he's 4-year-old. Yeah, he's 4-year-old. There you go. Yes. I think isn't that a royal tradition that they're in shorts until they're a certain age? I thought that was the case. Although I noticed in the photo, I've noticed that Charlotte's been wearing, there's been a couple of photos of Charlotte in wearing pants. Can you believe? And because the Queen liked the women to wear dresses. Oh no, not some of. Don't tell Katie Joy. She'll say that they're in some cult. Oh no, I'm wearing pants. Oh, they are dressed a certain way, yes. And there's that expectation that they're dressed a certain way. They're not part of some cult, are they? I love Princess Anne. Oh yes, she does wear pants. Yep. Uh, mm, yeah. Apparently, Katie Joy is having a staycation. Staycations are the best. Anyway, I want to thank you. I think I might. I need to get some stuff done. But thank you all for being here and joining me. If you could hit the like and subscribe button on the way out. Queen Mok 2 military uniform backtracking day. Look, the Queen. My last word on this is Queen was uh, an amazing woman for the fact she did break down gender barriers without even knowing it. She would go and see all these male world leaders, and in fact, if you look at the Commonwealth, she had all these men having to answer to her. She had all these men in the Commonwealth having to answer to her now, and having to, that was just unheard of. And I'm still. It was really interesting. It was really bizarre though, having the Christmas message from King Charles, because it's always been the Queen. The Queen Elizabeth, and so it's and I guess it's the same for everybody that's grown up with the Queen, is that we've only ever known the Queen, and and now there's going to be a generation of kings. I don't know when we're going to get the next Queen, because you've got Charles, you've got William, you've got George. Kings. It did. It did feel well. It didn't. I was waiting for Her Majesty. To yeah. It felt weird, but I think he did. It was a lovely speech. I thought It was very sincere. It was well delivered. He has a heart for people. You can tell that, because very appreciative. And that's one of the things that I think William and particularly Kate are going to bring in. They're very much social justice, like conscious of the fact that they live in a privileged position, that there are people that are holding it together, and the public servants, that the country or the world is run by people that do stuff. He was standing, not at a table, no photos of family, complete. It was a completely different style. And I think, Laura, he had to do that. He had to do it his way, because if he did it behind the table with the photos, people would compare him to his mother, I guess. But I thought it was really well done. Anyway, Happy New Year to everybody. Look, I'm hoping to get on again. Before the new year. But if I don't see you before the new year, have a happy new year. And as I said, thank you for all your support and love and care. If you haven't checked out my shop recently, there's been some products added. I'm coming up with some Katie Joy saying merch. There's sayings. So if you're watching this and you want to put down your favorite Katie Joy saying, please do. And we'll put it in, we'll get them made as stickers or something that you can purchase. Maybe George will decide he'd rather be. I don't think he gets to decide. I guess he could stand aside, but yes, Charlotte, wouldn't she be an interesting? Already, you can tell that she's going to be an interesting. She's going to be. Don't mess with Charlotte, I'd say. But anyway, I want to thank you for joining me. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Check out my shop if you haven't seen it, and make sure you give me your favorite Katie Joy quote or saying in the comments below, and I'll catch you next time.